Hello, I've been hearing questions regarding the first assignment, and before getting into that, um, I would like to remind you that I have posted a bunch of supplemental videos, and I do advise, especially for those who are not very confident with their mathematics background or economics background, to go through those videos. Like I said here, before us before putting hand on your problem sets and quiz. Those may help you. So now let's start with question 7. So in this question, we have a demand curve for good X. So QX D demand equals to 6,000 minus uh, half of PX minus PY plus 9PZ plus tenth of M. So the first question is to indicate whether goods Y and Z are substitutes or complements for good X. So basically the relationship between X and Y or X and Z. And here I'm using Y as an example. So with this demand curve, or demand line, demand function. So here, since we are looking at the relationship between X and Y, right? And the only term, so I'm gonna switch to my writing pad. Uh, the only term in this function that has something to do with Y is this, minus Py, right? So here, with a minus sign ahead of it, so it tells you actually the coefficient of Py is negative, right? So here the coefficient is -1, which is smaller than 0. That indicates that when Py rises, Qx decreases. So that's what we learned from this function. And now we need to go back into our intuition and try to figure out the relationship between X and Y based on this conclusion. So basically, Y becomes more expensive, right? And because of law of demand, with Y becoming more expensive, the consumption of Y will reduce. And here, with this, we actually see that Qx and Qy, they're moving in the same direction. Namely, Qy, the consumption on Y reduces is accompanied by the reduction of consumption of X. So what's the relationship between these two? That means usually X and Y are consumed together, right? For instance, um, peanut butter and jelly, right? So here with peanut butter becomes more expensive, the consumption of peanut butter goes down, and also that kind of deters the consumption of jelly. Say jelly is X, right? So these indicates that the relationship between those two goods is complemental. So Y, namely Y is the complement to X. So that's the first one, okay? And I hope this could be helpful. Okay, now the second commonly questioned one is question 11. So let's read this question together. From California to New York, legislative bodies across the United States are considering eliminating or reducing the surcharges that banks impose on non-consumers who make 10 million in withdrawals from other banks' ATM machines. On average, non-consumers earn earn a wage of 22 per hour and pay ATM fees of $3.5 per transaction. So this on average is like the equilibrium, right? So here, I think it will be best illustrated with the explanation of uh, supply and demand. Okay, so we have a demand, we have a supply, all right? And here, on average, the ATM fees, so the price is ATM fees. In here, it is 3.5 per transaction, and normally there is 10 millions of withdrawals. So that's quantity at the level of millions. So if a price cap, and also let's track down the wage rate, is $20 per hour. 22, I'm sorry. Okay. It is estimated that banks would be willing to maintain services for 4 million transactions at $1. So now the price is down and the quantity supplied at that price is 4 million and the price is $1, right? While consumers would attempt to conduct quantity demanded would be $20. Now that's cheaper, right? There is a stronger willingness to stronger consumption needs. Um, estimates suggest that for every 1 million gap between the desired and available transactions, a typical consumer will have to spend an extra minute traveling to another machine. So here, what is the gap? The gap is 16. So here, 16 million gap would be converted to 16 minutes wait, right? And the question is, based on this information, what would be the non-pecuniary cost of legislation that would place a $1 cap on the fees banks can charge for non-customer transactions? So here we need to think about what's the cost of wait, right? So here we have, yes, the price is lower, yet you have to wait longer. And this wait has a cost, which is the wage. So 16 minutes is roughly a quarter of hours, like 1/4, multiplied by 22. So that's roughly like 5 point whatever ish dollars on that. So that should give you an idea where to start to evaluate the consequence of this price ceiling. Thank you.